Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Apologies, it's been a bit of a while for making videos. I've been going through a black dog moment. As many of you know, I suffer with anxiety and depression and that, and sometimes getting to make a video is very, very difficult. I'm conscious of a lot of things, and that one is my accent. I have very broad Wiltshire accent, and I get very conscious about it, and I get, you know, that I enjoy doing the live shows and that, but I can hear myself in that actually I do the live show. So, but there's other reasons why I've been going through a black dog moment. But to make a video, it is very, very difficult sometimes for me to do. But that's one of the reasons why we set up the Facebook page, so the two can run in conjunction with each other, so you guys can keep it together what we're doing hobby-wise on our Facebook page. Because as I say, there's loads of different things that goes on and that, and trying to make a video every 5 minutes and that, you lot get bored watching them. It's a lot of time to actually put down and produce a video, so that's the reason why we don't do a lot of videos all the time. But many of you remember back in January, it was my 50th, and Mel and Jamie surprised me for a Wargames Hobby Centre weekend for playing the Battle of Shiloh, and I had a fantastic time. It was great to meet all my friends there. And again, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. American Civil War, as you all know, is a passion of mine. I've been reading about it for, it's got to be now on 30 odd years now. I thoroughly enjoy it. I love visiting the battlefields over there. Lovely people we've met over there as well. So absolutely brilliant. But it's got me enthused to get back into the American Civil War. And I said to Mel and Jamie, I said, look, let's get some bits and pieces. We've got odd bits and pieces here and there we need to finish off. So I said, let's get it all out, let's get them done, order some miniatures up, get some flags organised, and we can get some games on the table, and we can show you guys what's been going on. So without further ado, guys, let's turn the camera around, let's have a look at what we've been up to. So first up then, we have 3 batteries of Union artillery. The rules that we're going to be using here at Battle Bunker HQ is Pickets Charged by Dave Brown. We thoroughly enjoy those rules, and every time we've played them and that, we've always had a really good game, and we think they reflect the American Civil War battles and that quite well on the tabletop. But there's nothing stopping us using the black powder rules, using the Glory Hallelujah supplement that goes along with black powder, if we so wish to do so, because we also have those rules as well in the book supplement book as well. But say, first off, 3 batteries of artillery. So the first ones in front of us here, then we have the 3-inch Rodman rifle. All these miniatures are Perry miniatures, and this one's obviously the firing the gun. Really nice. As Fraser von Kettering always says, and that the Perry miniatures and that do come with like little worms and that when you're cleaning them up, and they are a bit of a pain. But once you get over that, the miniatures and that, lovely sculpts, nice amount of animation and that in them. Yeah, really cool. So yeah, I really do like these and that. Second battery to the left here is the 10-pounder Parrott rifles. This is going to be for the horse artillery, for the cavalry. I do like this one, and when he's running the gun up and that, and he's got his hand out grabbing onto the spoke. I personally wouldn't want to do that in case the gun rolled back, take me hand off. But yeah, really nice. Love it. Love these pieces and that. Bases are 60 by 100. That sort of gets a nice sort of feel to the gun. And what I'm going to do for these is put some rocks and some other bits and pieces and that on the bases and that when I come and base them up and that. But yeah, that's that one there. Same with obviously all the rest of them. That, let's just pick this one at the back here. And this guy is this battery is 12-pounder Napoleons. Again, really nice models. Same obviously figures and that running the gun up. But again, really nice. Look like they're going into action. All the bases for the artillery is going to be the same, apart from there's 2 Confederate ones which I'll show you shortly. I've made them slightly longer for obvious reasons when you'll see them. So over the back then we have we got here, let's pick this one here. We got some Gideon bearers or banner bearers. These are going to be for the brigade commanders. Obviously you've got those will be glued on with the flags, and obviously the flags, the one building first is, or for Jamie and that, we're building the 1st Division of 2nd Corps, so the Irish Brigade, etc. So it'll be all 3 brigades from that division, so we're doing the whole division. And then on my next division I'm going to build for the Union is 1st Division of 1st Corps, which will be the Iron Brigade and Cutler's Brigade. And then we'll just move on and so forth. And the Confederates were doing a sort of a similar thing. We're picking a division from each of the corps so we can play. So it just gives it a little bit of a flavour, a cross-section of the army and that. But like I said, these are just had the base coats put on these. I'm just going through them, putting some highlights on, be the next stage, and then obviously glue the flags on, and the banner pole on, and the flag. So again, that's one for each of the brigade commanders, one for the divisional, and there's 2 over for the next division and the next brigades, and so forth. On the left here, again, these are just in early stages at the moment. These are like mounted colonels. This is just the horses for them, with their base coats, and then just a dry brush over the top, bring the highlights up a little bit. So still a lot more work to do on those. And at the back there, we've got some of like the mounted character painting, like Meade, Doubleday, and I think it's Hancock as well. Again, these are just base coated. These need a little bit more work done to them yet. As I say, that's sort of like the various stages. So they're all at sort of different stages. These are some of the cavalry. I've got 2 regiments of cavalry already painted up. Just done years ago now. Clary's plastics. So we're trying to match them in, and that's why we got a base up here, and I've sort of rebased them up onto here as well. So not bad miniatures. I start off by putting like a sand onto the base to sort of like hide most of the molded base, and then I build up with the this Liquitex, and I'll just take this off here a minute. And it's sort of like a resin sort of mix, and it's got a fine grit into it as well. So again, once you put that on top of that, like the gravel there, you don't have to. You can just put it on neat. It settles really nicely, and I say it's got that sort of like little bit of rough texture to it. So I quite like that. So that's it. That's the Union at the moment. Yes, yeah. I'll change the camera around, and I'll get you some more miniatures, and we'll have a look at the Confederate artillery. So next up then we have the Confederate artillery. Now these guys, again, all Perry miniatures. This is for Pickett's charge, it's a mixed battery. So we got a 10-pounder Parrott rifle and a 12-pounder Napoleon. All Perry miniatures, but you can see why we've extended the base slightly. This is 120 by 60. And I love this crew. I love the way, I don't know if you can sort of picks it up and that on the camera, but this guy here, he's got his thumb over obviously the priming hole. The guy over the back there is setting the elevation, obviously cleaning and ramming shot, and the guy stood there with the shot there. Really, really nice. Again, we've put some rocks and that on the bases and that way it will give us a bit of character and a bit of definition and that on the bases. We've added in this base to our units. Now, obviously, the Confederates and that were painted up a long time ago. These ones are Redoubt and some First Corps, I think. But what I thought we'd do is put another flag in the regiment. So obviously, we put this is going to be a Texas brigade, and so we thought we'd get the old blue flag with a single star for the represent the Texas and that little sort of pennant sort of flag. And I quite like those ones. That is a Flags of War flag by Ian MacDonald, and that Flags of War, really nice flags. Yeah, so got those, and as I said earlier, in that the cavalry in the background. So these are GMB flags, which I already had. Otherwise, I'd have picked up some from Flags of War, but I already had these. So this is obviously Second Corps, First Division's flag. It's got the division flag and each of the brigades' flags. So they'll all be going on the guys in the back. So let's move on to the next lot to show you. So the final thing I'm going to show you today in today's video is Pickett's Charge: Eyewitness Accounts of the Battle of Gettysburg. This is a great book, and it was a gift given to me on my 50th birthday by a good friend of mine, Richard Downing. Both Richard and I are very similar in that we when we sort of like research things in history and that, if we can, we do like to try and get the diaries and things like that, and eyewitness accounts, books on those sorts of things, because that way the general history in that is really good. But if you can get some information on the key people that were there and what they were going through, I think, it certainly does add to your game and actually gives more sort of brevity and that to when you're playing your games and that. And also, I quite like it. I think it's a great thing, and that, and we have at the moment, depending on what side you're on, it doesn't really matter. We have one last chance to do that for the Second World War. Get the last bits of information, the eyewitness accounts of the guys that were there, just to make sure that we tell the story right, But anyway, moving on. So the book itself is basically it's all about Pickett's Charge, obviously, but it's about get information on the planning, the attack, prepping the attack, And again, the introduction is just telling you about the battle itself and what's going on and of each of the days. I'll hold that page there. So you've got the plan of the battle, so what the commanders were issuing, and there's some of the things they noted down in their diaries and that. Preparing for the charge, so again, where the units are being formed up, getting ready, and again, what the officers and the private enlisted soldiers were putting down in their sort of little notes and diaries and that they were making. And then obviously the cannonade, when obviously both sides were having a cannonade duel with each other to soften each other up. And then the charge itself, and then it goes on to accounts then obviously the guys that survived the charge, and also talking about the federal left, the federal right, what was going on, not just from the Union perspective, but also obviously the Confederates perspective as well, and also the centre, the charge of Pettigrew and Trimble's division. So again, it gives an account of what they were doing, and it talks later on in the book about the angle. There you go, the angle, and also afterwards what happened, you know, so what they felt afterwards after the charge. But there was one in there that I thought would be interesting to pick out, and this is by Arthur James Lyon Fremantle. You might remember that name. He is a captain of His Majesty's Coldstream Guards, not obviously from the film Gettysburg. I think they got him down as a colonel, if I remember rightly. And obviously it talks about his 3 months observation that he'd done from April to July, being assigned to the Confederate Army. And he talks about how he sort of comes in via Texas in April, and he leaves in sort of later July. But on the 30th of June, Tuesday the 30th of June, he writes, "This morning, before marching to Chambersburg, General Longstreet introduced me to the Commander-in-Chief, General Lee. Lee is, almost without exception, the handsomest man of his age I've ever saw. He is 56 years old, tall, broad-shouldered, very well made, well set up, a thorough soldier in appearance, and his manners are most courteous and full of dignity. He is a gentleman in every respect." Again, it's just little notes like that about his impression of what he thought, his first impression. It goes on and talks about a few other things, and then he talks about obviously meeting up with General Longstreet and the other generals he met along the way, and then he talks about the actual morning of the Pickett's Charge of the 3rd of July. So again, very, very, very good book. Well, if you're into the American Civil War, thoroughly recommend it. Pickett's Charge, Eyewitness Accounts at the Battle of Gettysburg, edited by Richard Rowlands. So, as I said, great book, great read, and loads of, it's just full of little snippets of information and that in there. Well, that's it then, guys. That's all I have for you for today. Hope you've enjoyed seeing this video. It's a bit of a lengthy one, I know, and I do apologise for that. Huge thank you again for everyone who's getting on board with the live shows that we're doing. We thoroughly appreciate all your support that you give us on that, and you know, we hope you can continue to enjoy what we're doing, enjoy the guests that are coming on, enjoy the shows themselves. And also, if you haven't done it already, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification, that way you'll be notified for any new videos we post up, and also our live shows. But also, don't forget to come along and follow the Facebook page. That is the place where you can share some of your work. We put a post up every other week where it shows what you've been up to. So we put a post up, and what we do is we pick some of those and we show them off in the live shows. So get involved, guys, and that, keep the community going. Huge thank you to all your work you're doing. Like I said, it does help me, and the people who suffer like I do with the Black Dog Syndrome, it does help. I can tell you that now. It is a therapy in its own right. So huge thank you to all of you who are putting out some great videos, some great content on Facebook and that, and the various groups and that I'm in. So huge thank you for that. And until next time, guys, keep doing what you're doing, stay safe, and happy wargaming.